moving on now to lightning talks and kicking it off with Hannah telling us about Lassie from Bedrock. Lassie is a new IPFS retrieval client, and because it's so good at finding and fetching your data, it's been lovingly named after the famous Collie. So Hannah's here now to tell us more about how Lassie does this and what this means for the retrieval market space. So Hannah, over to you.
Cool. Yeah. Lassie is indeed a new IPFS retrieval client. I'm going to talk a little bit about what it is, why we built it, and where we're going with it. Let's make sure this is, there we go. Yeah. All right. So, fun fact, Lassie is actually almost a full IPFS implementation written in Go, like Kubo is the most well-known IPFS implementation. But where Kubo is like a full big deployment with lots of bells and whistles, it's kind of sometimes called the Swiss Army knife tool. Lassie, it was built essentially like a scalpel. We started with essentially, we wanted to build a tool that could get your data on IPFS and Filecoin networks without you having to think about it. We found that a lot of the tools out there, they work, but you have to understand them, and it's kind of a process, and you have to know a fair amount about like the underlying technology to really make them work efficiently. So with Lassie, we wanted it to be a sort of set and forget. If you want your data, just tell Lassie to fetch it. And so what is that? What do we have to do to get there? One of the first things we wanted to take away in using Lassie is worrying about what data transfer protocol you're using. As IPFS networks have grown, there's been a proliferation of transfer protocols. I don't even know who in this call knows all of them, but you're forgiven for not knowing them, because for most people, they don't care about protocols, right? They just want their data back, and protocols only matter in so much as the data comes back fast. So Lassie sort of approach is we're going to know how to talk to all the protocols. We already support BitSwap. We support which is the primary IPFS transfer protocol. We support. Hold on, I'm having a little trouble. Oh, there we go, all of it. We support GraphSync, and we support HTTP. Actually, this presentation I gave once before, and at that time, HTTP was in development, but it is now shipped. We actually speak an HTTP gateway protocol to a number of backend providers, including folks like the .storage sites, NFT.storage and Web3.storage, and soon to storage providers as well. We maybe in the future will, implement some of the other transfer protocols that are being developed around the network. BOW in the IRO space for the IRO implementation. Vision also has a protocol called Carpool Carsync. These are all super cool technologies, and I'm sure any of you who are not in the weeds of it don't care one bit, because all you want to do is get your data, and we want to get it for you, so you don't have to think about it. So the other part about this is that most people, when they want their data, they don't want to have to worry about where to find it. Where to find your data is not something that, like, most people, when they're used to using the web, have to think too much about, because the tools are really good. In Lassie, we want to find your data for you, and it shouldn't matter whether it's on IPFS or Filecoin. This has been an ongoing thing, right? So we can find content in the IPFS DHT, and we can fiend content on the Filecoin network. We even have some other weird methods like BitSwap, like finding things through BitSwap peers. There may be other things we do. You don't have to tell us where to get your data. We're going to find it. And we do most of this through the network indexer. We work with their team to really build that out, and we can keep adding more ways to find data as time goes on. So yeah, I'm having a little bit of trouble advancing the slides. Let's see if we can get it to go one more time. No, okay. Here, not. There we go. Wait. All right. There we go. Yes. So how do you use Lassie? From the start, we've designed it with three 4 use cases. The first is to use it from the command line. You can, if you open your terminal, you install Lassie, you can download it already compiled and ready to go. We don't want you to have to install Go or any other dev tools. And it's designed, and you can essentially run fetch. And it's designed like other Unix commands to be typable and composable. I'll show you how that works in a moment. The second way to use Lassie is a lightweight HTTP gateway to IPFS and Filecoin. Basically, we have a little server that exposes an HTTP gateway interface to serve car files. Lassie, and that fits the latest version of the HTTP trustless gateway spec that has been in development, and we've actually drove a number of sort of improvements and new features through the process of developing Lassie.